On Unban Coolies, we have a special guest. He has spent more than 30 years in the transformation of library services. His background includes being a reference librarian at Spokane County Library in Washington, a law library manager at Environmental Protection Agency, head of reference services at Camden County Library in New Jersey, assistant director for Princeton Public Library in Princeton, New Jersey, and director of Salt Lake City Library in Utah. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Award, the American Society for Public Administrators. Today, he serves as the Associate Director of EveryLibrary, advocating for funding on behalf of local public libraries. Welcome, Peter Bromberg.
Thanks, Christopher. Appreciate that introduction and the opportunity to hang out with you and chat a bit today. Thanks.
Peter, tell us a little about yourself. What was the path to librarianship, and especially to the work you're doing with EveryLibrary in the fight against censorship?
Sure. Thanks for the question. So I've been doing this business librarianship for a little over 31 years now. So, I mean, I got involved with it initially, I think, just because I loved reading and grew up always going to libraries and found that, it really, was a great fit in terms of wanting to help people and really, do something with a career that also helped to make the world a better place and, promoting reading and literacy, and then through public libraries, helping people to build businesses and build community. And again, as a law librarian, particularly at the Environmental Protection Agency, helping people to find information about how they could, advocate for clean environments and better environmental laws and regulations. So, and then what led me here really is, my last job was I was director at Salt Lake City Public Library here in Utah, where I am. And I've been on the board of EveryLibrary for 10 years. And it's an organization that really works nationally, state by state, to support library funding and works really with grassroots groups also to help libraries win yes votes at the ballot to get their budgets approved. But we've always done rapid response type of work where there's been emergencies. And, as you know, over the last couple of years, particularly, there's been a lot of rapid response need around censorship and book banning. And so a couple of years ago, I made the decision to leave my job at Salt Lake City Public Library and really join EveryLibrary full time, particularly to work on state legislation issues, but also to work directly with librarians and just grassroots groups of citizens who were trying to get organized to fight back and have a voice, an effective voice in their local communities and in their states to push back on censorship.
For those who don't know about Unban Coolies, it is a nonpartisan, and we do not align towards any political groups, nor do we have any political affiliation. I invite all groups to come on this channel and tell us a little about your specific organization. With that being said, is EveryLibrary a nonpartisan?
100%. So EveryLibrary is a 501c4, aka a social welfare organization, 100% nonpartisan. We have a 501c3 EveryLibrary Institute, sort of partner organization that does research, training, policy issues, et cetera. But we are nonpartisan. Sometimes we like to say we're the library party, right? And libraries are nonpartisan, right? They're there to support everybody. When you walk in a library, we don't tell you what to think, what to read, right, what to do. We say, what do you care about? What do you want to discover? What do you want to learn? What ideas do you want to explore? And we support every person that walks in the door to be successful in their goals as they define them. So yeah, 100% nonpartisan.
Sounds like an awesome organization. I'll put a link to your EveryLibrary in the description of this video. When I was younger, I remember loving the Goosebumps series. The common themes in these stories were kids triumphing over evil and facing scary situations and using their wit and imagination to escape them. Unfortunately, Goosebump books are now on the ban list. Do you have any favorite books that are on the ban list?
Well, I guess unfortunately, I've read too many of them to pick a favorite. But I could identify a couple just top of mind. And Ashley Hope Perez's book Out of Darkness is an amazing novel that I would highly recommend concerning two main characters who fall in love in East Texas, and I believe it's 1937 or 38, and it really it's a Mexican American young woman, African American young man, and through their love story, you really learn a lot about the the racism and the realities that they have to experience at that time. And of course, like any book, it leads you, it invites you to reflect on our current realities and what's changed and what hasn't. So I thought it was a brilliant book. And the other one that obviously gets a lot of press is Genderqueer. It's a graphic novel memoir by Maya Kobabe, and that one I find myself rereading and giving away a lot of copies of it as well, because it's been so demonized. One panel taken out of context and even mischaracterized as an image of children when it's an image of adults. And but it's just such a wonderful educational, emotional story of a human being's life that you come away, if you read the whole novel and not just look at one panel out of context. It's very moving and it's educational, and it helps one to understand things that one didn't understand before, right? And that's the power of literature, right? That there's this idea of literature provides mirrors and windows, right? So, it's a mirror in that it helps people to see themselves reflected and maybe feel less alone, and in that way can give hope, right, to people. But also the windows to see into someone else's experience. It allows us, let's just like when we watch a movie or a TV show or any type of art where we can project ourselves into someone else's shoes and experience something through different eyes, that helps us to understand and build empathy. And those are the things that help us to be functional as a society and as a democracy, right? So I literally don't know anyone who's read that book, even going into it with trepidation or having their, some negative thoughts going in, that's come away having read it and not said that was an incredible book, right? That was, and again, so those are two that come to mind right there.
What advice do you have for people who are concerned about this censorship, but not sure what to do about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if I had to put something on a bumper sticker, it would be, show up and speak up. And I guess to break that down a little more, if somebody's watching this and says, I care about this, I've heard something about it, or it's happening in my community, but I don't know what to do. EveryLibrary has created a site, a platform that enables basically one to take action and to find other people who care and take action together, because that's where power lies, right? Is when we join our voices and our actions together. So fightforthefirst.org is a free platform where one can go and create a group, can launch a petition. And in fact, EveryLibrary will put money behind advertising digitally on social media, those petitions, so we can quickly gain hundreds, if not more, signatures. And the idea of that is, like, once you put those petitions out on social media through your networks, et cetera, then you have a list of people who've said, they've self-identified, said, I care, right? You've given people an opportunity to move from unaware to aware and to say, I care about this and I want to take action. So here's my name and email address. And from there, you can say, hey, we have this school board meeting happening next Wednesday. Can you come? Here are some talking points. Hey, we have this legislative committee hearing happening. Or there's also an events module where you can say, hey, let's go do a read-in in front of the school or at the state capitol, or events like that where, then you can let the press know it's happening and they show up again. So the idea is really you want to build and grow awareness about what's happening. And then once people are aware, give them an opportunity to say, and I'm willing to take action. And over time, right, and by showing up at those meetings and showing up at those, committee hearings and writing letters to the editor and et cetera, right? That's how we build that political power. And the good news, Christopher, is that we know through multiple national surveys, EveryLibrary Institute has done a national poll. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is very dominant here in Utah, actually does an annual survey every year called the American Family Survey. And there's been others that all say the same thing. Americans are very strongly against book banning. In fact, they don't believe that there's books on the shelves that are a problem to begin with. And they don't believe that if a parent complains, a book should be removed. And we also know that when there are book challenges and book removals, that there are very, very few people that are actually behind any of these. And yet they consume a vast amount of public taxpayer time and money in terms of teachers and librarians having to form committees and do all this analysis. But the Washington Post, for instance, found that in over 1,000 challenges, it was 11 people that did it. And here in Utah, we found the school board did an analysis of just one district and found that there were a handful of challenges that consumed 500 hours and $20,000 of taxpayer time, and then ended up like restricting or removing 10 books out of a collection of 200,000. Right. So people oppose this. Americans strongly oppose it. There's a very small but vocal minority that are taking action. And so what we have to do is we have to identify people who are in the majority, who are on our side, who are willing to show up and speak up.
Yes, I agree with you.
We at Unban Coolies are against the current book ban movement, and we want to do something about it. You can help us by signing our petition through the fightforthefirst.org platform.
Right. So Unban Coolies has a petition on Fight for the First, and we're supporting each other, right? So you're taking advantage of that platform, and then every library also is going to put some oomph behind making sure people discover it. And that's going to help Unban Coolies, right, to say, oh, now we have, whether it's, I think last time I looked yesterday, I think within 10 minutes you had like 35 signatures. I don't know what it's up to now, right? But then all those signatures are people then that you and your team can reach out to and then say, hey, here's some actions we want to take. Here's some language for a letter to the editor of your paper. Here's the email. Here's a link you can click to send an email to your legislator. All those things. So it's really about finding people who care and then giving them the opportunity to get activated.
Peter, on behalf of Unban Coolies, I want to thank you for being so generous with your time. Best of luck at every library. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Christopher. It's been a joy to spend some time with you this afternoon.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.